What did you make of the exfiltration when Trump finally gets stood up? He says, I need to get my shoes. Apparently he's knocked to the floor so hard that his shoes come off. I don't know how loosely you've tied your shoes.
He's got giant feet too.
He's got a bruise on his arm, apparently from where he hit the ground so hard, obviously from being tackled to a combination of falling, ducking, and being tackled to the floor. Yeah. And then I hear like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going? Where are we going? A lot. And then eventually he's stood up. He says, hang on. And then he gets taken out. And that really seems to kind of be
he doesn't get taken out. Don't skip that. Give it to him. What do you do? Blood's running down his face.
He pushes his gets a good photo op first.
That's the heart of that man, dude. He's not a normal person.
Dude, I think it's the first time, I can say this because I'm British, it's the first time that I've looked at Trump as somebody who's genuinely admirable. He's sort of gregarious and he's got this sort of strange way of speaking and he's not from my country and he's all of these other things. He's lots and lots and lots of things, many of which are kind of bombastic and out there and all the rest of it. And I'm like, I kind of don't really fully understand him, although I respect him. But I wouldn't have said, oh, that's like an admirable man. It's very difficult to work out. And I saw that and I was then in playing golf the next day, apparently sinking a 20-foot putt with a like 2 foot of break and saying, unlike the sniper, I don't miss.
Wow.
When he sank
Evidently, that's true. A lot of things have been debunked, but that seems to be an actual thing.
Do you remember the Reagan? Do you remember the Reagan bit where the balloon pops and he goes, "Miss me"? Yeah, fucking brilliant. That was it, dude. I really have felt in me, and I'm an independent. I'm not going to be able to vote in this country. I find him significantly more admirable than I did a few days ago. And maybe that's just unlocked a character trait that I'd overlooked. Or maybe this is a genuine sort of pivot that many other people are going to feel too. But yeah, that was
I don't know.
Fucking badass.
I don't consume media. I have for the past 3 days, and I actually feel really gross about having to get information from media because I think it's so toxic and it's unhealthy. So I don't know the man that everybody knows as President Trump. I know Don Jr. I know Laura. I know from 2016, me going, and he's like, I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He comes in during his campaign trail and he's like, I want you to do the Pledge of Allegiance and the prayer. And hey, you better do it good. He grabs my arm, he pulls me in like face to face. He's like, I want the Pledge of Allegiance to be like good. I was like, I'm a professional fighter, first of all. Like, don't try to intimidate me like that. But that was pretty intimidating. So like, so I've never, and I get that, and I really appreciate your kind of transparency and your perception of him. But I only know like this man that when in Charlotte a few months ago, I sit down and he's like, hey, Tim, I want to know what's happening with veterans and suicide. We can talk about anything that he wants. And the thing that he wants to talk to me about is the border, because he knew I'd spent time on the border and he wanted to know about veterans, their mental health, and suicide prevention.
This is Trump or Trump Jr.?
No, this is Trump. And I mean, don't get me started on Don. Like, Don's hilarious. Not his persona. I'm talking about the man, the hunter, the father, like the guy's epic. And I judge a lot of people by their kids, and I know his kids way better than I know him. And I'm just, they're amazing people. So like, I'm glad that people got a snapshot of the guy that I know.
Yeah, it's interesting. There is no more costly signal than after you've just been shot, how you respond after that. It's very difficult to deny that guy is built different.
Yeah.
And I'm not a sycophant, dude. Like, this will be the first time I think I've ever complimented Trump, because I was largely unsure, and the way that he behaves doesn't make it easier to kind of trust, because he seems so much like the WWE character that he briefly has starred as, that it's hard. It's hard. But now, and this isn't to forgive things he's done, whatever, like say he's a fucking saint. But I'm like, that guy's a badass. He's an actual badass. No, like, how few people, you're talking like less than 1,000 people on the planet who to whom that would have happened and would have then stood up and said, wait.
Yep.
And pumped the fist. Anyway, let's just finish off round out the getting him off the stage, getting him to the car theme.
Man, this is just a cluster. This is like as infuriating and sloppy as everything else has been. This was like next level amateur. So there's no command. Who's actually in charge of getting him off the stage? Clearly nobody knows. Where is he going? They had not rehearsed the exfil of their principal. Vehicle placement, weight. When I say weight, like his weight, their ability to move him, they can't do it. They have not practiced and rehearsed. They haven't gone and found a 365-pound guy and been like, all right, how do the 5 of us move this guy? They haven't done that. And then not knowing where they're going to move him or how they're going to move him, and then what they're going to do with him once they get him there, trying to get him in that car, and the cluster that happened around that car. Girl has her gun out. She's trying to look around. She tries to put her gun away. She can't get her gun away. Can't even find her holster because her stomach is so large. Her suspenders are holding up her pants. And then finally when she is like, all right, forget it. I'm not going to get my gun away. I'm just going to keep it out. The fact that you're keeping your gun like on the 5 o'clock of your hip, what security person on the planet is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my gun. I'm going to put it over my right butt cheek. That's it. That's a good place to have a gun.
What's the problem with that?
You can't get to it. It's a slow draw. Like, we'll do this, Chris. I'm going to give you a paintball gun, and I'm going to have you take that gun. I'm going to put it on your hip. I'm going to take a gun, and I'm going to put it on the natural line of my hands, or I'm going to do it in a cross carry. If I'm in a high position like this, which we call an interview position, which is how most of them stand. They stand like this, or they stand like this, or they stand like this, or they do things like with their hands as they're talking. It's because they keep their guns like here, so they can just go like this and they get a gun out. And then we'll do a 3 count, and we'll see who's going to shoot each other in the face with a paintball.
Yeah, that sounds like a good afternoon for you, not for me.
That's right. So it's about a half a second to 3/4 second difference. And then like you add clothes, garments, it just gets hard.
Panic. Well, yeah. I mean, I've spent time around you and your guys, and I've seen, people who are significantly less experienced than you handle weapons in Austin shooting. And it feels like it might be hard for someone that's not been around elite shooters to understand, especially the guys from Atomic Legion, some of the dudes that are competitive shooters who have maybe put similar sorts of numbers of rounds as like some soldiers would have done. Their firearm is like an extension of their body. It's so blind. Do it in the dark. Do it without looking. Yeah. It's an obscene level of competence. What are you pointing your camera at? What is this?
But there's a gun right there.
Yeah, you came in when we did our.
That's another gun right there.
Yeah,
it's just part of our life. It goes with us everywhere that we go. I shot 2,800 rounds on Saturday and Sunday of this weekend. This right here, that is a callus blister burst from the trigger guard of my rifle from shooting 1,500 rounds out of my rifle in 2 days.
So anybody that is sufficiently competent and familiar with their firearm would not have encountered the problem of not being able to holster their weapon.
No. Every shooter on the planet watched everything that unfolded for about 25 seconds in disgust and shame about how inadequate and inept that group of people were.
So to kind of go back to the high level stuff, it seems like the pool from which the Secret Service is able to draw has maybe been derogated a little bit in terms of competence and quality, prioritizing perhaps diversity over just straight up capacity. Then it seems like the volume, the number, and the quality that from this reduced pool that was given to to Trump, that was dropped. And then there is also on top of that been probably a number of intelligence and sort of operational failures. So it's a poor pool which is drawn from to a too small task force with too few capacities, which has been deployed in a manner where the intelligence and the awareness has not been done in an effective manner. Is that kind of encapsulating the...
Yeah, in broad strokes and wave tops, when you get into the minutia and you break down into those, three gross categories, all of the different failures that they make in both, selection of the people, how they're trained, who is hired, then it starts getting like wild, because if you're faithful in the small things, you're going to be faithful in the big things. You can't be faithful in the small things unless you're diligent and disciplined in the little things. And what you see here is millions of little decisions that lead up to a catastrophic failure. And not that all decisions were made were bad, but the vast majority of them now cumulatively, clearly the byproduct of that is a broken organization.